Details coming up in just a moment. We begin the world news with developments from the national political scene, where armed policemen have taken over the Wadata Plaza, the headquarters of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Abuja, as tension continues to mount over the party's National Executive Committee (NEC) meeting, which is expected to hold today. The police also disallowed a member of the party's Board of Trustees (BOT), Maina Chiroma, from entrance into the premises of the Secretariat. An official of the party alleged that the police were deployed to stop the proposed NEC expanded caucus meeting. Though some staff members of the party were initially allowed to go into the premises of the Secretariat without any resistance from the police, they were later sent out. Journalists were also being asked to leave the premises of the Secretariat. Some policemen were seen cordoning off Dalaba Street, which is the road leading to Wadata Plaza. Meanwhile, as the crisis within the People's Democratic Party deepens over the position of National Secretary and the disputed 100th National Executive Committee meeting scheduled for today, a major showdown appears imminent as party leaders are at odds, with rival factions planning to hold separate NEC and National Caucus meetings today in Abuja. According to information, rival factions were actively mobilizing and preparing to attend the separate meetings. Board of Trustees were also scheduled to meet today amid the ongoing turmoil. On Sunday afternoon in Wadata, Acting National Chairman Umar Damagum embattled National Secretary Senator Samuel Anyanwu. Two other members of the National Working Committee met and reaffirmed their position that an expanded National Caucus meeting should be held instead of the NEC. In response, on Sunday evening in Wadata Plaza, majority of the NWC members, including Deputy National Chairman South Tawfiq Karakbaja, National Vice Chairman Southeast, and insisted that the NEC meeting will go ahead today, with Koshodo remaining as acting National Secretary. The camps of Governor Shey Makinde Oyo, which includes Governors Peter Mba of Enugu, Doyodiri of Bayelsa, Ademola Adeleke of Osun, Dauda Lawal Zamfara, 11 members of the National Working Committees and other senior party figures also insisted that the NEC meeting must take place today as originally scheduled. The group is also firmly against the return of Senator Samuel Anyanwu as the party's national secretary. On the opposition side, camp of former Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike include Governors Caleb Muftuang of Plateau, Kefas Agbo of Taraba, Adamu Fintiri of Adamawa, Bala Muhammad of Bauchi, Acting National Chairman Umar Damagun, and others are advocating for Anyawu's reinstatement and for the NEC meeting to be postponed. Still on party politics, Benue and Nasarawa states are reportedly taking a prominent lead in the north-central geopolitical zone's quest for the coveted All Progressives Congress APC national chairmanship position. Following the resignation of the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Umar Damagun, on Friday, sources close to the party leadership indicated a growing consensus among stakeholders from the north-central region to push for one of their own to lead the ruling party, which within this push, Benue and Nasarawa are emerging as front-runners, with several influential figures from both states actively engaging in consultations and strategizing. Ganjuje chairman in August 2023, following the resignation of Senator Abdullahi Adamu, hails from the North Central Zone. His emergence stirred controversy at the time, with many North Central Party faithful voicing their displeasure. The APC Deputy National Chairman, North Bukar Daluri, assumed office as the acting national chairman and is expected to preside over the affairs of the ruling party till December. While no official pronouncements have been made regarding specific aspirants, the names of seasoned politicians and technocrats with strong ties to both Benue and Nasarawa are being widely discussed in political circles. This move is seen by many as a strategic effort to ensure the zone is continued relevance and influence within the national political landscape. Away from politics now, Dangote Petroleum Refinery's investment of over 720 billion naira to implement its initiative to deploy 4,000 compressed natural gas (CNG) powered trucks for the nationwide distribution of petroleum products is expected to save Nigerians over 1.7 trillion naira annually. The step will see the privately owned refinery absorb over 1.07 trillion naira annually in fuel distribution costs, according to a statement released by the firm's media group. The initiative is also poised to significantly benefit over 42 million micro, small, and medium enterprises (SMEs) MSMEs by reducing energy costs and enhancing their profitability. The initiative, which eliminates transportation costs for fuel marketers and large-scale consumers, is expected to help reduce pump prices and inflation. From 15 August, Dangote will begin the direct delivery of petrol and diesel to filling stations, industrial facilities, and other high-volume consumers. According to a statement from the refinery, it aims to meet Nigeria's daily consumption of 65 million liters of refined petroleum products. This includes 45 million liters of premium motor spirits (PMS), 15 million liters of diesel, and 5 million liters of aviation fuel. With the average logistics cost estimated at 4 to 5 naira per liter, the refinery will cover over 1.0 trillion naira annually in free distribution expenses. Senator Natasha Akpote-Duagan of Kogi Central appeared before the Federal High Court in Abuja on Monday for a second arraignment in a defamation case involving Senator Godswill Akpabio and former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. The lawmaker arrived at the court in the company of her husband Emmanuel Duagan, renowned activist Aisha Yusufu, and a group of supporters. Justice Mohammed Umar granted her bail on self-recognition. Justice Umar presided over the case, which follows a related charge filed earlier this month. On June 19, 2024, Senator Natasha faced similar accusations at the Federal Capital Territory High Court. During the previous session, the judge declined the federal government's request for a bench warrant against the senator for failing to appear. Government counsel David Kaswe acknowledged that the charges were only served on her lawyer that same morning inside the courtroom. The judge ruled that since Akpote-Duagan had not been previously served, it was unreasonable to expect her presence at the hearing and dismissed the prosecution's request for arrest. The case stems from comments reportedly made by the senator during a live television interview where she accused Akpabio and Bello of conspiring to have her assassinated. The lawsuit was filed by the federal government through the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and centers on alleged defamation. The management of Benue Links Nigeria Limited has confirmed the safe release of 10 abducted passengers and their drivers. The company made the disclosure in a statement signed by its spokesman, John Sunehi, in Makurdi. The 10 passengers and driver were abducted on June 22 along the AK Elengbecho axis of Okutu local government area of Benue State. He said that the passengers were initially 12 at the point of abduction by unidentified individuals, with 2 earlier rescued. The spokesperson said that the transport agency remains steadfast in the commitment to the safety and security of all their passengers and staff, and will continue to collaborate closely with law enforcement authorities to ensure that justice is served and to prevent a recurrence of such incident. You are currently watching and listening rather to the news, the World News at 12 right here on the Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We will take a short break. When we return, we head into the news analysis segment with Daily Fanimo, a current affairs analyst. We'll be right back. It is good to have you back. This is the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I have Daily Fanimo, or current affairs analyst, joining me on the news this afternoon. Mr. Fanimo, thank you so much for joining us.
Always my pleasure. Good afternoon.
We seem to be having lots of political news today, and the biggest one, obviously, right now is police, the national police at the headquarters of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Abuja, where tension continues to mount over the NEC meeting, which is expected to hold today. Why do you think the police is there to cordon the area? It's not a security issue; it's a political issue between party members of PDP. So, why do you think that is?
Well, where human element is present, it is to err on the side of caution by ensuring that you don't allow chaos before you move in. That is being proactive and not reactive.
Okay.
And the standard operation procedure of the police as the agency superintending over civil matters in any country is to proactively nib any potential crisis in the board before it happens. And we all know that PDP is bedeviled with a lot of crises, ranging from Ayaun's restatement, the opposition to the restatement, the crisis between Wike and Makinde, the mass defection of members of the political party to the ruling party, and a lot of issues. And these are people with divergent opinion, with different mindsets, pursuing different agenda, coming together under one roof. The appropriate thing for the police is to ensure that they protect that premise.
Now, but
and also watch while these people are conducting their affairs. But from all indications, from what I've read and what I've seen on television, we may not rely fully on the perception created by different factions.
Okay.
That the police was there to suppress certain elements.
Because this is not an issue of the fact that maybe there's a bomb that's about to go off. Information we're getting is the police even allow some of the party's board member to enter the premises, and some of the staff member of the secretariat that were allowed in were later told to come back. So one begins to wonder. I mean, we have two factions, obviously, and this is one of the factions having their meeting. If the police is there to make sure, people do not exchange blows, which is far-fetched.
It's not far-fetched.
It is far-fetched.
It's not far-fetched.
It is a meeting.
The point is, as a member of PDP, whichever faction I belong to, you can't bar me from entering the secretariat.
Okay.
And so, in an attempt to bar me from attending this meeting, for instance, if two members of the board are on the side of faction A and three are on the side of faction B, you can't bar the faction A as long as they have not renounced their membership of that party and you have not removed them from the board.
And you think that would have resulted in a blow?
Definitely it will, because they will say, okay, we don't want you. And what are the legal implications of saying you don't want somebody who is a bona fide member of a political party? So that's where the likelihood of crisis erupting comes in, and it's the responsibility of the police. And I'm sure that somebody must have reported this. It could start from other members of the National Working Committee or National Executive Committee being invited, and they are leaving somebody like Anyanwu out of the loop. And Anyanwu, either secretary or no secretary, is still a member of NEC, National Executive Committee. And so if you buy him, there will be trouble. He has his followers. And he will want to forcefully break into the meeting. So let's not scapegoat the police in this. It is a divided house that is precipitating a visit to the ICU, intensive care units. And police should not stand by and watch and allow things to degenerate to the point that there will be bedlam.
Now, I remember when we first talked about this, and I remember wondering what the INEC position or situation is with PDP. I was personally thinking INEC is being used as a tool to further divide the PDP, with them not accepting the 30th June NEC meeting. But with these, I think I'm personally beginning to have a rethink that they're giving INEC more power and more reason to actually enter or butt into the party's issues, since they can't exactly put their acts together.
You see, is it the fault of INEC?
That's what I'm saying. It's definitely not, as in from what's happening here today.
Whatever is, don't forget that there's a legal department in INEC.
Definitely.
That would advise the chairman and the commissioners on the legal implication of they are accepting somebody that has not been accepted by the party.
Or not accepting, depends on the case.
You understand?
Yeah.
So they are going to look at the papers, they are going to look at resolutions, and then come up with the fact that, okay, if you guys are not putting your house in order, for instance, the last NEC meeting that was postponed, it was because there was no secretary signature in their letter to INEC. And then INEC cannot take an unsigned document as being from the PDP. Because if anything happens after recognizing that letter, there is legal implication. Some of us will come here and begin to say, INEC is partisan, INEC does not know what they want, INEC is being used and all that. So they also have to take caution. They need to understand where the pendulum swings. I mean, in party hierarchy, don't forget there was a judgment recently that during Labour Party's crisis, that parties are supremacy in internal crisis of any political party. That the courts cannot even meddle in certain areas. So, are you going to fault INEC, and are you going to fault the police from taking charge of that secretariat to prevent? Because one life lost, it will be placed squarely on the doorstep of the police. Say they are tardy, they don't know what they are doing, they're not professional, they don't understand rules of engagement, and those are the allegations we'll be putting up. So they need to do something. They need to be proactive, and that's why they are the secretariat. The earlier, you see, the whole idea is, the earlier PDP gets its act together, the better. We might assume that the next election is still far-flung. That's not true. Now, if there was no calendar, would you have believed, since we said Happy New Year till now, that we have grossed 6 months? You wouldn't have believed. Same way we'll just sit by and go about our daily activities, and they will tell you they are releasing the timetable for presidential election next year. And then there will be rat race. So PDP is not really serious about being a player, not even the bigger player, but a player in next election, 2027. Now, the way things are going.
Let's take a look at the two factions here, the Wike and the Makinde faction. The last time we talked about it, you said Governor Shea Makinde of Oyo State stand no chance against Nyesom Wike. But, let's take a look at the dynamic of the faction here. Most of the Southwest governors and National Working Committee tend to side with Makinde, and then most of the northern governors and northern members of the PDP are siding with Wike here. Why do you think that is? Because this is it was almost looking like a tribal thing, but when you now notice that it's the northerners in the parties that are actually siding with Wike, and one begins to imagine what the dynamic of the faction is.
What is the Wike factor in these crises, and what is Makinde's factor? Don't forget that Wike and the Makinde, they were, along with 3 other governors,
Yes, the G5.
the G5, they were at the forefront of working for Tinubu to decimate APC. I mean PDP.
PDP.
Otom is no longer in the radar
Yes.
after serving 2 terms. Is it Ugwai?
Yes.
Ugwai.
Or Ebonyi State.
No, Enugu.
Ebonyi State was.
Umai was also there.
Yes, Ebonyi State was part of it.
Yes, Umai was from Ebonyi. And I think Ugwai was the other person.
Yeah, I think so. Enugu. Yeah.
So now Ugwai is gone, Umai is gone, and he has already pitched his tent with the ruling party. So what is left is Makinde is the only sitting governor among the 5 G5. So it feels as the last man standing, you can take a shot at presidency coming from his background, and by 2027 would have served out his tenure as governor for your state. And if you want to take a shot, which is legitimately his right to take a shot. Wike is the poster boy of APC today, and is acting the script perfectly well.
Perfect, too perfect, if you ask me.
And he's been so resilient, he's been so tenacious, you may say for wrong reasons. But as long as he keeps decimating the ranks of other politicians in favor of APC, while you are condemning him, they are applauding him. And so, Wike has a mandate, and that mandate is to remain in PDP to further decimate the ranks of PDP. And so if there is any semblance of unity in that party, it is the responsibility of Wike to make sure that he puts spanner in the works. And that is what he is doing. And don't forget that I, as a person, Winston Churchill said that we politicians cannot trust ourselves, how much more the electorate. Makinde, to me, up till now, I understand he has performed very well in the state in the last 6 years.
Yeah, actually he has.
And incidentally, he's from the mother is from my hometown, and Akure, Ondo State. And I also know that some people are rooting for him to contest, but I don't find him as a candidate for PDP. If PDP wants to have a strong showing, because Makinde has not done those who want to become president will want to do.
It doesn't have a national face.
That's what I'm saying. You see, you need to stretch your hands across the Niger. You need to have a formidable structure that transcends where you have governed or your state. But I've not seen that in him. So, what makes you think that he's not a mole? And Wike and Makinde are playing scripts to determine who becomes the candidate that will eventually play a very big role in decimating PDP for the passage of the APC presidential candidate in the next election. And that is what I'm seeing.
But it's the faction here that I'm trying to understand why. Like you've rightly said, he may not have a national, not
spread.
capturing exactly, but in the southwest, obviously, he's garnering some attention in the southwest. When you look at the factions and the governors on the side. Okay, he also has Peter Mba on his side. He also have the Ediri of Bayelsa on his side, and they also have Dauda Lawal on his side. But Wike is capturing basically the northeast and north central. So, what do you think of that dynamic?
You are good at identifying where the strength of Wike is, northeast and central. It's going to be a fight between APC and PDP in some of these areas. And Wike is one leg in APC.
One leg in PDP.
And one leg in PDP. But I want to make it clear that whichever way you look at it, PDP is going to lose their formidable strength in this game of mutual destructive tendencies that is playing out within PDP. And I'm not too happy that we are decimating the ranks of opposition. And in the absence of virile, strong, formidable civil society organizations. So post 2027, we may not even have a whimper, not to talk of a voice in terms of opposition in this country.
Okay, now finally,
So sad.
finally, let's see. Let's do like a permutation. Who do you think can bring the party back together? As you've alluded to, yes, Wike is one leg in APC and one leg in PDP, which means because of the divide in PDP, he's not exactly a suitable candidate.
Does he want to become presidential candidate?
We don't know. We don't know exactly.
No.
Exactly, which further buttress my point.
He has already told you that he cannot contest against Tinubu.
And
it is very sure, like the Northern Star, that Tinubu is going to emerge as candidates of APC in the next election.
And then on the other
Except
hand,
the unthinkable happens.
okay. And then on the other hand, just like you've said before, Makinde does not have a national spread. So who in that party do you think is strong enough? This is not a matter of going against Wike or going against Makinde, but other than these two, who do you think can unite the party? Because this party needs to unite, and soon. And the better, the quicker they do this, the better. Like the last time I was talking to an analyst, I said the party is already in shambles. So what would they lose if they force Wike out by hook or by crook? What would the party lose more than what the issues they are having right now? So who do you think is that person that can try to force Wike out of the party and unite this party together? By hook or by crook? Because, as I said, we know how strong Wike is in the party. We know the root he has in the party. But if there's a fear that is, if Wike leave the party will further collapse. The party is already collapsing, so right now they don't have anything to lose. So who is that person in the party?
The unfortunate thing is that the person that can bring cohesion to the party has been an ambassador more than a politician.
Okay.
And that's Atiku Abubakar.
The same Atiku Abubakar who was the genesis of this whole problem.
He has reduced himself to an ambassador. He rarely sits with his constituency, and 1 week is too long a day.
I mean, we rarely hear anything about him with PDP.
That's what I'm saying. He's in Dubai enjoying himself, waiting for about 3 months to ticket.
And then
and
then any news we hear from him is that has more to do with the coalition that he's trying to put together than the PDP.
So what I'm saying is, since 1999, political party had been reduced to the level of a lapdog in politically exposed politicians' hands. What I mean by that is, go to any state, the governor is automatically the owner of the party in that state. The president is automatically the owner of the party
nationally.
And when you have that, other members of that political party are reduced to minors in the party. And when you don't have a clear-cut leadership role to play in a political party, there's a difference between having political appointment or being on an elective platform. But who recognizes a chairman of a party these days?
Nobody. Sometimes I even forget there is a chairman of a party.
Exactly. So they have reduced political machinery to the level of a lapdog that answers to the principal. In this case, which is an aberration anyway, the governor or the president. And so that's why it's difficult to tame Wike. Because Wike had sown so much in PDP that nobody can square up with him. Nobody has expended as much as Wike in PDP. When PDP was in coma after losing that election in 2014-15, it was Wike that was said to have brought in 50 billion to salvage that party.
He was the main financier of that party.
That's what I'm saying. So today, who is taking that role? Nobody.
Nobody, definitely.
And so that's why Wike will remain a factor till 2027. For wrong reason anyway.
Now, I was trying to see a scenario where someone like Peter Obi obviously have a huge fan base. The problem is a party with a huge support, in addition to his strong fan base. And PDP would have been that party for him, So I was also seeing a scenario where, okay, what if Peter Obi comes back to PDP? But with the way this party is right now, there is no hope for that. So what we're expecting to see is where will Peter Obi be contesting for this time, which is another politician, however huge he is still having problem with platform.
It's a dicey thing. For me, it's a dicey thing.
We have on one hand we have a PDP that need a face, and then on the other hand, but in disarray, and then on the other hand we have a Peter Obi with huge followership, but no platform.
No, Peter Obi has not left Labour Party.
We both know Labour Party is even in a worse situation than PDP.
But as we speak,
they are in a worse situation than PDP.
As we speak, Peter Obi has not come out to say he's no longer with Labour Party.
Yeah, but we all, well, of course, but of
just
course
like
you know
has
the rumor.
not told you he has spotted to APC.
To ABC. Well,
and Atiku has not told you he's no longer with PDP.
we can also read the handwriting on the wall. We can also read between the lines.
You see, when people grope in the dark, you tend to wander, stumble, trip, fall, and rise. And that's the exact picture that these people are painting to us. Peter Obi is very smart. He's intelligent enough to know that contesting under Labour Party, even if he wins that election, the people can turn. Because INEC has not come out to say, this is the faction I represent, I recognize. Nobody has talked about either Abre or Nenadi Usman's faction. He is the recognized leadership of that political party. And PDP is headed for the rocks. So, for me, if this obedient
movement,
people's movement, or I don't know what they call that party now, if they can come together, and if INEC is magnanimous enough, using the instrumentality of the Constitution to give them that license, good for him. But for me, it's a kind of holding on to a theater that may not avail you at critical moments. Holding on to a Labour Party or any other person also holding on to PDP.
Because the rumor mills keep turning. Where will it be this time? People are anticipatedly waiting. he had an interview on X, or live interview. Unfortunately, I've not been able to get my hand across the interview, listen to it, but I think he kind of addressed the rumor mill, and it was kind of on the fence, let's wait and see what happens. Let's wait and see what happens. So the rumor mills will keep turning until we kind of find out if he's remaining in Labour Party or he will join the several coalitions, that we keep hearing all about: ADA, ADP, ADN, and so on and so forth. But anyway, let's move away from that. Let's go to Dangote Refinery, where the media group have come out to say the over $720 billion investment on the initiative of the 5,000 compressed 720 billion naira.
I was wondering. The old refinery is about 20.7 billion dollars.
Yes, the 4,000 compressed natural gas truck of the nationwide distribution that is supposed to go on in 15th of August. That it will save Nigerians 1.7 trillion naira annually. Yes, okay. 1.7 trillion naira annually. And of course, it would also benefit 42 million micro, small, and medium enterprises. Now, we've not verified how true that is, but what do you think Dangote is playing at? He's gradually looking like he's beginning to dominate the oil and gas sector in Nigeria.
Is it looking like he has dominated it in the last 3 months?
Well, we still have the oil and gas cabal. We still have the oil and gas cabal that still have a stronger hold.
There is nothing like oil and gas cabal.
They do, actually. They do.
Government readiness to allow capitalism to play out in the oil and gas will make those ones dissipate into irrelevance. Those ones we call cabal. There is no human being that can become a monster that the federal government or any government in any part of the world cannot tame, except they don't want to tame. Who are the cabals? Maybe illegal bunkers that have made so much money that is trying to. All you need to do is just shut the tap and let the security agents go after them. They become ordinary as soon as they are arrested. You now see blood and flesh in them. So for me, I don't believe in any cabal. But coming straight to the Dangote refinery, the CNG project, the 4,000 trucks that is going to deploy, I am at a loss as to how this will play out.
I mean, we're all anticipating.
Why I'm saying that I'm at a loss is, granted that CNG is like 20% of running on diesel or petrol. What about the wear and tear of the trucks?
Okay.
At some point, you would have to replace the tires. At some point, you have to service the engine. At some point, you have to do a lot of things.
I mean, but it's 4,000. That shouldn't be a problem.
Because it's 4,000.
Yes, I mean.
Have you multiplied the amount? Because why I'm worried is now bridging the gaps, according to him.
Yes.
Such that the same amount you pay for a 33,000 liter truck in Lagos is the same amount to pay in Akwa Ibom, Maiduguri, Sokoto, Port Harcourt. And the takeoff point is Lagos.
Yeah. The distances are very, very different.
How do you bridge that without incurring some losses? That's the way I see it. Even CNG, you still pay for the gas. What a truck will use to deliver from the gantry, Dangote gantry, in his refinery outlet, cannot be the same as what that truck will use if he has to go to Akwa Ibom.
Definitely.
Somebody has to bridge that, and if Dangote is taking on that, I don't know how much he's going to lose, and then where is he going to cover it up?
Probably is using the federal government situation. We have the situation where, which has been an issue anyway, where we have a lot of states have a different level of generation of money to the federal government, but that's not exactly how the federal government, distributes this money monthly. Talking about the FAAC.
You see, the point is, which governor will want to subsidize the movement of a private concern's truck to deliver fuel in various filling stations that are run privately, independent of government? It doesn't work. It's just a kind of a teaser. I'm sure it's not going to run that business for more than maximum 2 weeks before it begins to say,
having a rethink.
yes, that we didn't envisage this, and this is how much it's costing. So we may have to readjust the pricing.
Anyway, let's see how that goes. We're monitoring, we're looking at it, because I just hope it's not an issue of over-promising, and then when it's time to deliver, you now begin to reevaluate.
Is the intention. Draw them, catch them, retain them.
It's always a pleasure talking to you, Mr. Fanimo. Thank you very much for your time and your insight. That was Daily Fanimo, a current affairs analyst, talking to us on Voice of the People 90.3 FM on the news at 12. And then to our international news now, the United Nations Conference on Financing Development has opened in the southern Spanish city of Seville, as member states are expected to discuss a global inequality amid a significant financial loss following the United States Agency for International Development USAID funding cut. The once-in-a-decade event will be held from Monday to Thursday, aiming to address pressing global concerns, including hunger, poverty, climate change, healthcare, and peace. At least 50 world leaders gathered in Seville, including UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, French President Emmanuel Macron, and Kenyan President William Ruto. More than 4,000 representatives from business, civil society, and financial institutions are also participating in the fourth edition of the event. But the group's most significant player, the US, is snubbing the talks following President Donald Trump's decision to slash funding shortly after taking office in January. In March, the U.S. State Secretary Marco Rubio said the Trump administration had cancelled more than 80% of all the U.S. aid programs. Still on the international scene, facing serious legal jeopardy in potentially years of incarceration over an alleged coup plot being tried by the nation's Supreme Court, former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has attended a protest by his supporters. Several thousand people attended the rally on Sunday in Sao Paulo. During the protest, Bolsonaro told the crowds that those who accused him may have trump cards up their sleeves. In February, 70-year-old Bolsonaro, who led the country from 2019 to 2022, was charged with 5 counts of planning to remain in power and overturn the 2022 election result, which current president, the left-wing Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, won. 33 of Bolsonaro's closest allies were also charged. Earlier this month, Bolsonaro testified for the first time before the nation's Supreme Court, denying any involvement in the alleged coup plot. And in sport, Carlo Ancelotti has challenged Neymar to prove he can become a very important player for Brazil again as countdown to 2026 World Cup begins. Ancelotti delivered the challenge to Neymar Jr., insisting the veteran player and forward has enough time to get back to his best and become a very important player for Brazil ahead of the 2026 World Cup. The former Real Madrid boss, who has officially taken charge of the Seleção, believes Neymar still has a role to play if he can stay fit and focused. Ancelotti began his tenure as Brazil's head coach earlier this month and has addressed one of the biggest questions questions surrounding the team, Neymar's future. The 32-year-old has been out of international action since suffering an ACL injury in October 2023. The former Paris Saint-Germain and Barcelona forward returned to Santos in 2025 but has continued to battle recurring injuries, missing recent qualifiers for Seleção in March and June. Brazil has struggled for attacking consistency in Neymar's absence and are looking for experienced leadership as they begin shaping their squad for the 2026 World Cup. And just before we go, here again are the top stories. Police besiege PDP headquarters ahead of NEC meeting. Tensions mount between Wike and Makinde as PDP holds a NEC meeting today. Benue and Nasarawa lead North Central bid for APC chairman slot. Dangote's 720 billion naira investment in CNG trucks to save Nigerians 1.7 trillion naira. Senator Natasha granted bail in federal government's second case against her. On an international scene, once in a decade UN conference on development aid kicks off in Spain. And in sport, Ancelotti challenges Neymar to prove he can be important for Brazil. And that's the World News at 12. I am Solomon of FM. Do follow all our social media handles at VOP903FM. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP903FM. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.